You working yet? Okay. This is going to be all over the place today because I just got back from a pretty crazy trip to town, and I've been in a boat just going like this for a while. Because today was like my only day I could go to town, around now, and I needed to get some stuff. Mostly I needed to get resin to make more kayaks. Well, I also have to get like food and, usual just knickknacks, bits of stuff. But I got like a bunch of resin so I can make more kayaks because my kids are already like, hey, when are you making the next kayak? That one's mine. And then my next kid is like, yeah, the third one's mine. When are you making them? Anyway, so I got on the boat this morning, and I started driving, and it's, like 3 hours to town, more or less. So I start driving, and I always drive at slow speed when everything's chill in my little white boat. This is my little trimaran, the zombie chopper. It's a little white boat. It's got one main pontoon, one hull that I sit in, and it's pretty small. And then it's got two little like outriggers on the side. Like 2 adults can sit in it comfortably, 3 uncomfortably. So anyway, I'm driving this thing. I always start going at slow speed, which is why it takes me 3 hours to get to town. But if I drive slow speed, then I pretty much have like full battery when I get there, or close enough that my battery recharges before I come home. And that way I have like pretty close to full battery, like pretty much all the time, just in case I need to go fast, in the dark. So today I'm driving to town in slow speed, and it starts out a little bit sunny, and then it starts getting a little darker, and I notice over off in the distance there, it's like really dark. And that's the direction the sun's coming up. So I'm not getting much sun. I'm like, all right, whatever. The wind's blowing that way, so all that darkness is going the right direction, and I'm going away from it, and I'm like, everything's fine. So I'm totally falling asleep. And don't worry, I wasn't near anything. I'm like miles from anything that I could hit when I'm falling asleep in my boat. And I always wake up every few seconds to take a peek. But anyway, suddenly I notice the wind is coming from this way, and like really hard, and not just really hard, like moving my solar panels hard. And I know when the solar panels start moving on their own from the wind is pretty strong, because the solar panels, I can tilt them, right? But they're like stiff, so they stay where I put them. When they start moving from the wind, that's some hard wind. So I'm like, oh, I better wake up, because when the wind is that strong, I gotta, and I'm a little hazy because I've been like half conscious for the last hour, and I'm looking around. I'm like, all right, where am I? Okay, there's town. That's where I'm going. And whoa! And it's like just dark. Like from the boat, all this direction is just like dark, like really dark. And the wind is just blasting. And I'm like, oh crap! That's gonna pick up some significant waves pretty soon. I'm looking around. I'm like, all right, I don't want to go back. First, because, I want to keep going. I want to get where I'm going. But also, going back's not going to be any better because I'm going to be going right into the storm anyway. I can't go that way because the wind's blowing that way, and there's land there with no cover. So I get smashed into the land if I go there. So my only 2 real options are just to keep going and get to town, or to head straight into the storm because the wind's coming from that way, and there's land like, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles away. And the closer I get to that land, the more the wind is going to be blocked, right? But if I do that, I'm still going to be in the storm. So I'm like, all right, let's just keep going. So I turn up my speed to second speed, and, I'm going a little faster for a while. And then, it seems like I'm kind of skirting the edge of the storm. And I'm like, okay, I might be all right. But then the wind starts picking up more and more, and I'm like, okay, full speed. So I put the boat in full speed, and at that point, the waves are picking up, and the wind's blasting, and the boat is starting to go, and I'm just thinking, man, this is the difference between like making a boat that's like just like a proof of concept or something to play with or a toy, and like making a boat that can like save your life. And I'm really glad I did the second one, because like I'm in danger here. But my boat has always gotten me through. It's a tough boat, tough little boat. All my boats have always gotten me through disasters. Anyway, This little boat's getting thrown all over the place. Waves are blasted in and blowing right into the boat. And so I'm like turning left constantly with the rudder because the wind's trying to turn me the other way. So I'm like, I got one hand on the rudder, I got one hand on the solar panels because they're trying to like fly all over the place. Not just the solar panels, like the whole roof, it's like hinged up there so I can aim it at the sun. But the wind is just, so I got one hand on there, one hand on the steering. But then all this water starts splashing into the boat because the waves are getting pretty big at this point. I'm like, crap. So I stick a knee against the steering to hold it. And then like I get a scooper, you know, my scoop router, which is just like an oil container with the bottom cut off. And I start bailing out. And I wasn't like in a serious problem. I only had like that much water in the boat. And, you know, the bottom of the boat is like this. So it's not actually that much water, but you got to stay ahead of that stuff. Water starts getting in your boat, you want to get it out immediately because water getting in your boat starts a chain reaction. If you ignore it for a little bit, it starts building up. The thing is, the more water is in your boat, the lower your boat is in the water, the easier it is for the waves to get in, and you get more water in, and then it lowers your boat more, and then more waves come in, and you can get in a pretty seriously bad situation, like at an accelerating rate. So I got to stay ahead of this water, make sure there's like, I got to scoop out water anytime a wave comes in. So like, I'm like driving like this and this arm's getting tired from holding the thing. I got to switch and cheer. Then I got to hold my knee on the thing and then bail out. And I'm just like, what the, it's fine. I'll get through this. I just got to like do this for like an hour and then I'll be fine. So I sucked it up, you know, did that for an hour. And then when I was getting closer to town, there's like some islands and some cover, you know, it's breaking up the waves and blocking some of the wind. So I got there and I got into the spot where I park my boat. It's like just some old guy's house and I give him $5 to park there. And he's always happy to see me. And he's just this nice old guy. Anyway, so I pull my boat in there. I get out of the boat and I just feel the sun baking me. And I look, and it's like blue sky here. And I look over there, of course, there it's like super dark. But like as soon as I got to where I'm going, the weatherman's just like, all right, we tortured you enough. You're not driving anymore. We'll bring out the sun, no problem. And so the sun comes out for like several hours while I'm in town, which is nice because it recharged the boat because I was going full speed for like a third of the way there. And also when I got there, I realized that's probably the fastest I've gotten to town because I usually just go slow speed and, you know, do it real chill style. But that time I was going full speed. So I'm pretty sure that was my record for getting there. I have no idea how long it took because I wasn't paying attention to watches. I was covered in salt water and I was just trying to keep the crap off the boat. Anyway, beautiful weather while I'm in town. I go pick up my resin, go get some food, a few other little things here and there. And on the way out, I'm thinking, ooh, should I stop at a restaurant and get food, get some tasties? And usually my answer is, nah, save the money for building materials. I'll eat when I get home. And so I get back in the boat. Beautiful day. I'm like, oh, so nice that it cleared up. So I start paddling backwards because my boat doesn't have reverse. It doesn't need reverse. I almost never go in reverse except when I'm backing out of the spot. So anyway, I'm paddling backwards. I turn the motor on, slow speed, which is still pretty decent speed, you know, and start driving out of there. And I'm just kind of getting out of the town area because right at the beginning, I always just kind of want to get out of the in-town area because there's lots of like water taxis going and making waves and stuff. There's just lots of commotion and waves from boats mostly. So I get out of there. Once I get past all the garbage behind me, now I got open water for miles. And there's home. Okay, let's just cruise. And I put my feet up, put my paddle like across the boat, put my feet up on it. I'm just like, let me chill. I'm gonna do some exercise a little bit later, do some paddling. But for the first hour, I'm just gonna relax. So again, I start falling asleep as usual. And then I notice, was that a gust of wind? Oh, crap! Exact same thing happens. But this time, as soon as the first gust of wind hits, I turn the boat and start heading in the direction of the wind because that way I can get closer to the land where the wind is coming from so I can hide behind the land. Unfortunately, because it was such a calm, clear day when I left, I was totally aiming the other way, which is like the more direct route to home. So I was like, oh, I gotta make a hard left, go all the way across this huge area to get to cover. So for the next, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes, I'm just getting thrown around again. At least this time I was going into the waves. So the boat handles into the waves a little better than to the side of the waves, because the boat like just kind of pierces right through the waves until a wave hits the crossbars that hold the pontoon things. And when the wave hits that, it just gets all over me and all over the boat, and I have to bail it out. Anyway, so I wrestle my way. Finally, I get to the part where I'm like, up against a big island, and there's lots of little islands, and I'm just kind of weaving through them. And lots of cover. The wind's getting broken up by all this stuff. And like 10 minutes later, the freaking sun comes back out, and I'm like, hey, what happened to the wind? It's gone again. It's like as soon as I go out to the open water, it's like, anyway, then it was quite a peaceful rest of the way home. Although I turned on some more full speed because I was just, I don't know, I just felt like getting home faster because I done all that fighting. So, yeah, and then I just got home. Well, I stopped to drop some stuff off at a neighbor's house, and I pulled some pizza out of the fridge. I got leftovers from yesterday. Anyway, but I got back. And one of the things I was thinking about while all this was going on was struggles, right? Because that was a pretty serious struggle. And the whole time I'm doing this struggle, fighting the ocean in my little tiny boat, I don't actually want to be anywhere else. Like, it's kind of a stressful, difficult situation. On one hand, but kind of my survival instincts are like, this would be good to be somewhere else. But on the other hand, the other part of me is like, this is life, man. This is what life is. Like, this is life. What do I want to just be comfortable all the time? And I thought about a comment someone made recently. It was after I was doing those morning exercises the other day. And I turned you guys on, to give myself some accountability, make myself accountable to you guys. So I was like, all right, if I put this on, there's no way I'm going to quit these exercises before I was done. Anyway, did my exercise. And then one guy, I read the comments. But anyway, he's like, well, it's good to know that even you struggle. And I was like, of course I struggle, man. I struggle like all the time. And then I thought about all the people who I've seen who are like experts who make things look easy. And I was like, yeah, they're struggling too. Like my first year running track and field, I was running against this guy who ended up winning the mile in NCAAs. He went to the Olympics and the World Championships. Like, this guy was like totally like several levels above me. It was my first year. And I didn't really watch him in the race I was against. Well, I watched his butt. All I was thinking about, though, was just trying to run hard. But then after that, I saw him running a different race, and it was the 1,500 meters. And he ran the first half of the 1,500 meters faster than I could run that distance on its own. And he still had another half to go. And he looked like he was just chilling, man. Like, he looked so relaxed. He's just like flying around the track. However, he was trying hard. I know he was trying hard, because if it wasn't hard, he would be going faster. Same thing like when you watch like Usain Bolt. When he broke the 100-meter world record, ran a 9.58. It's insanely fast. And he looked like he was just chilling. But the thing is, to do your best, you kind of have to stay relaxed. Like, that's how you get the best performance. But it's really deceptive for people watching to look at that relaxed person who's just doing everything perfectly and staying super relaxed and think, well, they don't even look like they're struggling. Oh man, they are struggling. They are struggling. They are pushing hard. They are doing everything they can. Part of what they're struggling on is figuring out how to not tighten up, how to stay relaxed, how to not look like they're struggling, right? But the struggle is there, man. Struggle is super important. And of course, this is I always go in these weird directions in my brain when I've been in a boat for hours and just like chilling out. So you're gonna have to just bear with me for a minute. And then I started thinking about relationships between men and women, right? So, it's something I've been thinking about more in the last year or so. And I've been thinking I would like to be in a good relationship, not in a crappy one. I've been in plenty of crappy ones. I want to be in a good one, which means it's way harder to find than the other kind. But I started thinking about all the relationships I've had in the past with women. And anytime I've been in a relationship with someone where it's gotten to the point where it's become like a comfortable relationship, not at the beginning when everyone's trying to impress each other, but like the part where like the meat of the relationship. Always it's been a situation where the person I'm with wants more than they want to give. So they want to give a little bit and get a lot. And this comes back to the whole struggle thing. It's part of it's a major part of what is wrong with our society today. It might even be the major part of what's wrong with our society today, which is that we now have a society that has developed sufficient technology and gotten access to sufficient resources, like all this oil in the earth that's been building up energy over millions of years. Now we can just use it, right? We can just use it and get all kinds of energy with very little effort. You can just put your foot on the gas and suddenly 100 horses are pushing you just magically, right? Or like, all the uranium and stuff. And we're using all this incredible amount of technology and energy and all these capabilities just to make our lives more comfortable. And I think that's where we're going wrong. I don't think we should not have access to that stuff. I just think that when we get access to that stuff, we need to do something more with it. And just this whole mindset of wanting a lot and giving a little bit, totally ruining relationships between people. Not even just men and women, like friends, just everyone, like most people today, just the way they think. They think in a greedy way. Even like kind of like people who are considered not that greedy are still thinking very greedily compared to, people throughout history who knew that you have to put a lot of effort in to get something back. Like you want a loaf of bread, you got to grind and beat and do all this stuff. You got to do a lot of stuff to get a loaf of bread. But now it's just like, you go to the store, spend a buck, whatever. And a lot of that energy is coming from the stuff we've dug out of the earth, or just taking advantage of, less developed nations where you can just have slave children sew all your clothes and make all your shoes for cheap money, right? And so now we've got this society where people are so used to giving so little and getting so much that it's ruining relationships between people, because you can't have a friendship between two people who both want to give a little bit and take a lot, because it just doesn't work. All right. So, and this whole line of thinking reinforces for me something that people keep telling me I shouldn't be doing, which is maintaining struggle. Like whenever my life has gotten easy for me, I've always said, okay, things have gotten easy. That means I need to do more. I need to somehow make things harder and progress in some way. Like once things get easy, that means I need to struggle more. I need to do better. I need to grow. I need to explore. I need to learn something new. I need to do something that is outside my comfort zone, because if I just sit in my comfort zone, I'm going to wither and die. And the more I think about that, the more I think that is the right thing to do. I think that's what we should be doing. I think that's the way everyone should be thinking. So, for example, now we have access to all this oil and nuclear power and like just so much technology and so much stuff that we can use to make our lives easy and to entertain ourselves and to have giant TVs on all the time that are blah, 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 blah. Or we could say, okay, life has gotten comfortable. we're here, we can do this easily. We need to do something harder. Let's go out, explore outer space. Let's go colonize planets. There is no excuse for the human race not colonizing planets right now. Like, we should absolutely be doing that. But instead what we did was we got comfortable and just started saying, okay, how comfortable can we get? And one of the problems with people becoming comfortable is they start having nothing to do. And people with nothing to do, this is that old saying again, you know, idle hands are the devil's playthings. People who have nothing to do start causing problems, start causing trouble. And that's where you get all these conflicts and all this waste of energy going into stupid things because we're not doing enough. You know, we're totally not doing enough. The human race, we've gotten to a point where we are too comfortable, and now we've gone down this track where life has become too comfortable and we're complacent and we're wasting, just wasting all our potential and just pissing away everything we could be doing to try to make ourselves happy in the short term, which makes us miserable in the long term because we all know we're not accomplishing anything. Like, there's so not an excuse for us not like exploring other planets, figuring out how to get into different dimensions. I don't know, just do like figuring out some stuff, like going, I don't even know what to come up with, because when you get to the edge of what we're capable of, after that is all these unknowns. We so much more of our energy should be going into exploring unknowns and like doing more instead of just making it so we have 800 channels of useless TV on all the time. All right, I think that's it. Yep. Maybe I should turn a light on. Here, let me turn a light on. Yeah, great. Look at that. Just magic. I can magically just make like lickety split like that. It's great. Anyway. Oh, Mr. Landfill, what's going on, man? How's it going, Jeff? Yeah, I'm just gonna read comments here because I'm done yammering on. Got my child support caught up, so I get my passport back. So looking forward to traveling south. Oh, jeez. Do you wear a PFD when you go on these boat journeys to town? Signal flares, satellite phone? No, I don't. I do not have the correct safety equipment. If I'm by myself, I don't worry about it. I have flotation devices. Like I always make sure I take water with me. I mean, my safety equipment may sound different than your safety equipment. My safety equipment all has to do with me saving myself, because that's the way I think. I feel like if I get into a situation where someone else has to save me, I'm dead. Like that's just the way I think. Like I don't want to ever have my fate in someone else's hands. So I always take things with me, safety equipment, where I'll be able to save myself. So I'll take water with me and something I can hold on to that floats. And my boat, it has 2 pontoons that are filled with styrofoam. So even if the boat broke up into pieces, there's 2 floaty pieces that are not going down, you know. But anytime I'm in a boat and the weather starts getting crazy, I quickly go through kind of a checklist of like what I can do. And today it was like, okay, if for some reason disaster happens, the boat gets destroyed, it was nowhere near getting destroyed. Like, it's a totally super strong boat. I made it really strong. It's good. But, you know, you never know. Worst case scenario, the boat is toast. What do I do? And I'm like, okay, I got my gallon of water there. It's mostly full. It has, you know, it's like this is actually it. So it was fuller before, but it had some airspace, which means it'll float. So I can take that with me. That will be one flotation device that I can also drink. And then my seat cushion is floaty. So I'm like, all right, that and my seat cushion and pretty much everything else, I can just let it go. I mean, it's going to be pretty annoying replacing all the crap in my wallet, but like if I'm going to die or whatever, those are the 2 most important things. If I can also grab my wallet and put it in my teeth, I'll take it as far as I can go before I have to let it go. But I'm also a very good swimmer, you know, relatively speaking. I mean, for a human, I'm a good swimmer for a human. I broke a city record in high school story. That was a million years ago, but I I'm still a pretty good swimmer. So I count on the fact that I can swim pretty far, even in a lot of waves and crap. And I've never been in a situation where I felt like if a boat went down, I couldn't swim to shore. I've been in situations where I was like, wow, that's going to be a difficult swim, but never been in a situation where it was like I couldn't make it. And anytime I go on my boat with kids, I'm always like 20 times more careful about the weather. Like I wouldn't have gone today with my kids in the boat. The forecast said it was probably going to be fine, but there was a bit of question in my head. So yeah, I wouldn't go with kids. The only time I'll take my kids on that long of a trip is if the forecast says like super chill weather, and it's been super chill weather, and it's like just across the board super chill, Anyway, oh, let's see. Been watching for years, Jaimie. Tanglebrook. What? That's a cool name. You guys have the coolest names. Oh yeah, Wizard of the North too. Okay. Been watching for years, Jaimie, since the Spider-Bot. Nice to meet you live. Hey, it's your first time here. Nice to meet you too. Awesome story. Thanks. Wait, what literally just happened? Tanglebrook. You mean literally what was the story, or what do you mean just what just happened? Well, they told a story about going on the boat. What's up, Jaimie? How's it going, Tony? Anarchy Television. Oh, I like your television. Davy Concrete. Love a good tangent. Have you read any accelerationist stuff? Oh, I saw a very brief video on this recently. The accelerationists are kind of the mindset, you correct me on this, but the accelerationists kind of want to accelerate the rate of societal collapse, thinking that the faster it happens, the less bad it'll be. I can't say I really disagree with that. Like I've been saying for years, if things are going to collapse, the sooner it happens, the better it's going to be, because the longer it drags on, the more difficult positions people are going to be in when things get really bad. Because, and I'm not saying I want to accelerate the collapse of society or anything. I don't know. I'm just focusing on my thing here, trying to make myself have a good life that is robust enough to handle, a collapse of society and take care of the people around me and stuff. But yeah, if society, like if a civilization very slowly collapses over a long period of time, people slowly lose their homes and their ability to feed themselves, and things get harder and harder and harder, and more people have difficult living circumstances, then at some point it's like, okay, that's it. And a lot of people are already in really difficult circumstances, and it'll be really hard for them to adapt or to new things. Although you could also say that if they're already in the difficult circumstances, maybe they can handle it better. But on the other hand, if things kind of collapse suddenly, people are more likely to have a home still, and maybe some stuff stored up, other than money, because if things collapse, money's not going to be anything, but like some food stored, stuff like that. I don't really know what my position on that whole thing is, but that's the basic gist of what I got out of it. But I've only saw a very brief video on that. Slarty Barfist B says, we have I need to turn up my brightness here a little bit. Hold on. All right. We have a massive star-sized fusion reaction our planet orbits around called the sun. We have a nearly infinite supply of available energy. That is totally true. It's crazy to think that the amount of energy the Earth is collecting from the sun is like it's a minuscule amount. I'm sure you could calculate it just by the size of the Earth and distance from the sun. But I mean, it's tiny, a tiny fraction of the total energy coming out of the sun, and like it's a lot. It's crazy to think of how much energy is coming off that thing all the time. That's not the issue. It's energy storage that needs development. Well, if we're going to talk about the whole energy thing, I think the number one thing we have to do is get people to change their lazy, comfortable, stupid lives. There, I said it, and I totally meant it. Yeah, having everything instant, like, okay, one of the really stupid things our civilization does is we close the curtains in the daytime so it's dark inside the house, and then we turn on the lights at night. Like, just shift when you like wake up with the sun. Like, why is that considered not cool anymore? I bet it has something to do with some energy company, kind of encouraging certain propaganda to convince people that, oh yeah, it's not cool to wake up with the sun. You got to wake up at like noon and stay up till 2 a.m. That way you use a lot of light bulbs and a lot of energy. But it's silly. Like if you just shift your time and you're awake when the sun is out, you save so much energy. And then there's just like a million things like that. And then all this crap about having to constantly have like 8 TVs on in your house. Have you ever been in a house with someone like that where they have multiple TVs on in their house all the time? Like why don't you turn all that crap off and learn to be in your own company? It'll probably like really improve your personality. Anyway, I don't think we have an energy crisis. I think we have a comfort crisis, an entitlement crisis. Like, I think we need to change our lifestyles. We could fix the energy crisis in one day if we just stop doing dumb things. Start thinking about what we're doing and the consequences, and just blah blah blah. Zed says Elon Musk has the right idea. Leverage technology and try for the impossible thing. Yeah, Elon Musk definitely has some problems, but he definitely, yeah. I can see some good and bad there, but I'm not going to get into it. Someone says, "Wow, for a human, what? We apes strong together. Fish swim better than humans." Yes, I'm a very good human swimmer, but compared to a fish, I'm garbage. Having a life vest that you can put on an emergency is a great idea. No, I don't want it. You never know what might happen that will make you unable to hold on to something. If I am unable to hold on to something, I think that is the point where I die. Like, to me, that's when it's over for me. And I'm comfortable with that. So I think it's my responsibility to make sure that I don't get to that point. And if I do get to that point, like, I'm dead. There's, like, at some point, there's nothing you can do. And sure, you could have a life vest. I don't know. If I get to the point where I'm unable to hold it onto something and unable to swim, I don't know. I guess the way I think about my life is like, once I don't want to stay alive because stuff is keeping me alive. Like, if I'm not living, I need to be living and doing things. Like, I have to be maintaining my life. I would never want to be on life support. Unless I was like, injured and I'm definitely going to recover or something. But like, even then, I would be kind of questionable about it. I'd be like, I'll stay alive for my kids or whatever. But like, generally speaking, I need to be keeping myself alive, not stuff. I don't know, but it gets into a whole philosophical thing. And one day I'm going to drown and everyone's going to be like, "Hey, see, told you so." And well. Yes, all those antics Usain Bolt did before a race were to get him to relax. I don't even know what antics he did. I didn't watch that stuff. But Jaimie, you spelled your wrong. Well, you spelled your right, but it's the wrong your. Anyway, you are a character. I love how thorough you are reading the comments. I always read all the comments, except the ones that don't make sense. I kind of skim over them. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and passion for freedom, knowledge, and life and kids. Well, thank you. Thank you for appreciating it, man. That's awesome. Makes me feel like I'm not wasting my time here. Cool. Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It might be Yu-Gi-Oh, but I'm seeing it as Yu-Gi-Oh. Good to see you again. Converted my 27-foot sailboat to solar panels with 2 trolling motors. Simple and works. That's awesome. Yeah, that's super. I mean, I'm also a big fan of wind power. Around here, the wind is really unreliable, and I've spoken to a bunch of people who live on sailboats, and they're like, yeah, this area is terrible for sailing because the wind is so unpredictable, and that's why I ended up going like pretty much totally solar. Let's see. Yu-Gi-Oh! That's epic. How many panels? Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Yu-Gi-Oh! Do you have like pictures of this or anything? I kind of wish like on this thing, the comments here, you could like slap a picture in. So you could like show us a picture of your sailboat and the solar panels and everything. That would be cool. Oh, anyway. Got the video in my feed. Also some crazy stuff. Need to check out that 4th cycle book. I don't know what you're talking about. Rusty Shackelford says, I have a 32-foot sailboat. I want to put a lot of panels and electric motors. What's your speed and range and battery capacity? Stupid fishes can't even walk correctly. That's true. I can outwalk a fish. Oh, I am so good at walking for a fish. Oh man, I am an awesome fish walker. 520 watts of solar. This is Yu-Gi-Oh's sailboat. 520 watts of solar can run at 2 knots without drawing batteries at noon. That's pretty sweet. The fish said, I walk on land pretty good for a fish. Very funny, Mr. Landfell. What's your top speed and battery amp hours? It's slow but free and endless, and trolling motors are very dependable. Also, no one wants to go fast if they have a sailboat. Yeah, my boats, I mean, my boats go faster than 2 knots, but it's really nice just being in a boat that's not going super fast. Partly because, you know, in a motorboat, like a gas motorboat, the noise is just blah! But also you're like zooming and like hit the waves and you're bouncing around. It's a really tranquil thing to just be like cruising along. Of course, if you're in a super hurry. Anyway, Rusty Shackelford says, I have 750 amp hours of LifePo batteries. That's the nickel iron phosphate ones. I want to put 600 watts of panels on the boat and see how it gets along with 1 trolling motor. That's pretty sweet. Do it, man. Fish are good people. I eat good people then. Oh, my fish friends are. Wizard of the North says, when it comes to solar energy, I think we need to transition to localized generation rather than giant solar farms to power the grid. Yeah, that's like one of the coolest things about solar panels is that you can just slap it on your roof and you have power right where you are. I think personally that's the coolest thing about solar panels is just anywhere the sun is, they work there. So yeah, if you set up a big solar farm and then run these giant wires, you're kind of defeating half the advantage of the solar panels. And I think that if more people have their own solar panels, I think it would encourage people to start thinking more about using energy in the daytime rather than at nighttime. And that will help people get around the whole need for massive batteries. Because the reason you need so much battery storage is because all these people want to do stuff at night when historically we'd just be sleeping, you know. Here at night, the only thing I ever have on, I have my refrigerator on, and I don't open it after I make dinner, or after I get any ingredients I want out of my fridge for dinner. It closed and it's locked for the night, so it doesn't get open. So it doesn't use much energy. But other than the refrigerator, a few lights and the internet, that's all it's on. And like my tablet, it's running on the battery. So yeah, at night I'm hardly using any energy. And a lot of that is just because I'm aware that I'm not getting any energy right now. And if that just, I feel like if that just got into people's heads because they're using solar panels, I feel like they would start adapting and realizing, hey, You know, I could spend $5,000 more on batteries, or I could just use energy when the sun is out, you know, and just kind of plan life around the sun like it's always been. Let's see, when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh says about 250 amp hours, but key is just use it in the daylight so you don't draw down from them. Yeah, man, exactly. I guess what I was just saying. Birth rate, oh, Vasco, what's going on, Vasco Zuzuz? Birth rate is in decline in most first world countries. It seems that as we have made things easier for ourselves, we have made other things more difficult. Well, I don't even think, I think what we've made difficult is just being alive. Because when things get too easy, people lose their, what is it? It's like life becomes non-inspirational and people lose their motivation. You know, it's like playing a video game on God mode, you know? Like say you're playing Doom and you type IDDQD and now suddenly you can't be killed. It's fun for a few minutes and then it's just like, all right, now it's just kind of boring. Nothing's going on. There's no point in doing anything. And that's kind of what our lives are becoming like. When things get too easy, people are like, whatever, what's the point? I mean, who cares, whatever. And then the thought of doing something difficult becomes harder to approach. So like having children, you have to put effort into having children. Everyone knows that. So having children becomes this thing where it's like, oh, well, if I'm going to do that, it's going to be hard. And, you know, just completely ignore the massive amount of reward that having children is and having a family and, you know, all these human connections, which is kind of the point of being alive, is like a huge part of the point of being alive is just to have these human connections with people. But, you know, it's hard and, you know, I'm so comfortable now. I could just relax. And yeah, comfort is not the thing, man. Comfort is no good. And it's funny that the birth rates are declining. Man, Social Security is going to have some increasing difficulties. And, you know, one of the problems is that in our civilization, for quite a few years now, people have been living off debt. I don't know exactly where it started. I know the baby boomers really lived off debt and put off a lot of debt to the future. So that's why, you know, my generation and people growing up now, it seems to just keep getting worse and worse. But like people trying to get jobs now, they're like, okay, my husband and I both work full-time jobs and we can't afford a house. But my parents, one parent worked and they had an amazing house and a car, 2 cars, all this stuff. They had money to go on vacation. It's because they deferred a lot of their payments to the next generation. It's like, let's put everything on debt. Let's put it on credit. Our children will pay for it. And then the most irritating part is when the older generation looks at the younger generation and says, oh, you lazy bums, can't you even get your life together? And it's like, no, we are paying for your life that you already had, that you didn't pay for, you know. Anyway. Oh, it's really frustrating to see people growing up today with like just bleak outlooks. But the positive thing is that people still generally have freedom, and you can choose to live a different life than the one you're offered, you know, than the one the system gives you. And I'm a perfect example of that. You know, I'm doing this weird thing, living on an island, and my expenses are so low that I can basically live off making YouTube videos where I don't even get that many views because I'm not doing, you know, ow my balls. Anyway. But we still have freedom to do a lot of different things. Like you can choose a different life than the one is offered to you. Jaimie, LEDs are so efficient. All you need is an old car battery and a 100-watt solar panel, and you have endless lights. Halogens are also really efficient, from what I understand. there's various kind of lights that are really efficient. The nice thing about LEDs is you can get them in really varying sizes and stuff. Let's see. I guess you can get any bulbs in varying sizes. But the LEDs are so cheap. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Hey, Mr. Landfill, I hope the foul weather bypassed you. Oh, hope you don't get foul weather. I got some foul weather today. Only when I was out in the water, though. Battery can be as small as 5 amp hours because it really just acts as a capacitor or acts as a battery. I wish I had a fish friend. Simo, whatever your name is, you can get a fish friend. Your wish can come true. Mr. Landfill says, Wizard of the North, I think all commercial buildings and malls should have to fill the roof up with solar. I think they should have the choice personally, but it does make sense to do it, unless there are all these incentives to do things that don't make sense that are anyway. Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh wait, Rusty Shackelford says Yu-Gi-Oh! Smart man, especially on sailboats. There's great angle of sun, except I have the mast in the way. I want to mount the panels at the stern and make mounts for side panels. You can always cut the masts off, unless you still want to sail, of course. So Mr. Landfill got through the weather okay. Good. Yu-Gi-Oh! I got used panels and used batteries. Batteries were at a junkyard. Take a tester. Many auto batteries are good for wrecked cars and about $15 each. That's true. If a car crashes, there's a good chance it still has good batteries in it. What seems like a very Jesus take. Wait, that seems like a very Jesus take the wheel mindset. Jesus take the wheel. I'm not sure. You mean, I'm not sure what you're referring to. I can think of like several different things that just happened that you could be talking about. Okay, you guys are still talking about the sailboat. Swimming cramps are real. LOL, bring a flotation pillow. Yeah, I have something to hold on to. I also know that I can swim pretty far, and I've gotten swimming cramps before, and I know how to, get through them, deal with them. Let's see. I would rather have a chance of staying afloat after knocking my head hard enough to daze me or knocking me out rather than just say, oh, well, this is it. Nah, see, you're misinterpreting what I've said. Oh, well, this is it. That is not the way I go. If you see me dying one day, you are not going to see, oh, well, this is it. You're going to see me kicking and screaming and fighting for it. Anyway, FBI is here. What's up, man? Act normal, the feds are here. Yes, Mr. Landfill, the FBI is here. Everybody act normal. If I attach a full bridge rectifier to the AC motor, is that enough to get some power out of it? Well, it depends what kind of AC motor it is. Probably not. Most AC motors will not generate electricity if you just spin them. But, it depends what kind it is. If it has permanent magnets, maybe. Depends. I have pictures somewhere traveling with no drain on batteries. Sweet. With wind blades or inspired by the shark slicer rigged in one afternoon. That's awesome. Tranquil and quiet, bald eagle landed above me and let me motor right underneath because it's completely quiet. That's pretty sweet. If two sailboats see each other, it's a race. Oh, man. Local nuclear stations would have better high energy density and more reliable. Yeah, I feel like we should be using nuclear power for spaceships, personally. Let's see. Yu-Gi-Oh! Also has 660 watts on his van. Doesn't motor, but it means you can charge phones and run stuff, without killing your battery, right? To here in winter, use solar panels. Wait. Oh, Wizard of the North says you were saying that you wish people could post pictures in the chat. Have you thought about making a Discord server? I actually got on Discord a few days ago for the first time. I don't know how it works or anything. I talked to someone briefly. I thought about getting Discord. I'm certain it would be popular with your followers. Well, maybe I should figure out this Discord thing. I will take it under advisement. Simo says, do you think that flow batteries like the vanadium ones could use underground tanks to power huge cities and industries soon, 30 years? I think they could if people decided to just do that, sure. Energy storage and energy density is key, I think. I think that the main key is just that someone just decided, or people just decide it's going to be done. I mean, you could power cities with a lot of different things if someone just decides to do it. Oh, can you guys hear Jaimie? Oh no, am I muted? Oh, okay, Mr. Landfill, it was just your speakers or something. In summer, use panels to power AC or window AC to directly lower your central air bill. No grid tie, no permits. Yeah, the funny thing is, like, with air conditioning, the time you want it most is when the sun's out. So it works out really, really conveniently, right? And then if you have decent insulation in your house, you can cool it off when the sun is out, and then at night it stays cool, you know. Jaimie is our cool uncle that we never had. Oh, your crazy uncle, maybe. Speaking of cold, I'm kind of hot here. I want to get a fan. It's pretty much, it pretty much never gets so hot that a fan is not good enough here. Like, I don't need AC here, but like, I often need a fan, especially when I just got back from, you know, wrestling the ocean for a while. I also, after, you know, on the way home in the boat today, after I got through all the stormy stuff, I did spend like an hour doing a paddle workout, you know, because I like getting exercise and stuff. Speaking of energy generation and storage, have you ever thought of making a water tower for gravity storage? Yes. I guess you don't have much elevation gain on your island, but maybe on the mainland. Well, I don't have any mainland, but I do have like 20 whatever acres on one of the big islands, and that it doesn't have a ton of elevation, but it has some decent elevation. And I've considered strongly making a pond at the high point and using that for various things. One of them would be, energy. Although there's also a stream, like a stream that always runs on that property. So I would probably go for that first. Let's see. We hear him in our hearts and souls. Jaimie, when you get tired of hand building domes, look at this brilliant old parent. You mean patent? I think you mean patent. Okay, William Urschel patent. If chat won't allow that direct video link. Okay, let me see if I can remember this. William Urschel. What do you mean? Oh wait, I have a pencil here. Where's my pencils? Oh my God, my kids. Oh, seriously? I had like 5 pencils here for doing math, because I do math in the mornings with my kids. But, 2 of those little buggers are always stealing my pencils. I bet they put them upstairs in the drawing stuff, because I told them when you tell like a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old to do something, you never know how it's going to come out. And I think when I said you guys made too much of a mess of the drawing room, you guys need to clean it up. I think they may have taken every pencil from everywhere in the house, because they're all gone from here, and put them away. Anyway. Okay, William Urschel. I'll try to remember that. It's like a 50-50 chance. I tell everyone your story of having kids in Panama for $65, including overnight stay with meal. Actually, let's see, we've had 2 kids here. One I think was it 65? I thought it was like $35. The other one didn't cost anything. And I think it's because the hospital got money to be built and there was leftover money. And some nice person, I don't know, they're just like, all right, let's just roll this over into care for the people. So at this one hospital, for like, I don't know, a while, just everything was free. I mean, you had to pay for drugs or whatever, but like you could go there for free. For I don't know if it's still going on. I don't know how much money they have. I also didn't know the whole story, but that was basically what I understood. Like they got donations or something, or somehow they got money to build this hospital, and they had a bunch left over, so they just used it to treat people. And also, my youngest daughter was born during COVID, and I don't know, they were just, I don't know, it was just free. Anyway, William Urschel patent if channel was your YouTube does not. Oh, ow, my balls. Very funny. Have you watched Idiocracy? Yes, I have watched Idiocracy. It used to be one of my favorite movies, but I can't watch it anymore. Because, you know, like when Idiocracy came out, it was hilarious, and like it showed a it wasn't real yet. That's the thing. When Idiocracy came out, for anyone who doesn't know, Idiocracy is this movie. You should watch it. Although it's not as good now as when it originally came out. Now it's more scary. It's like a horror movie. But when it basically showed the future, like a really dumb future, like if people continued on just being dumb and just making stupid decisions. And one of the TV shows in the future was just called Ow, My Balls. And this guy just hurts his balls over and over and over. And when the movie first came out, it was like, oh, look at that crazy possible future. Ha ha ha, that wouldn't happen, right? I hope not. And then like I watched the movie like 10 or 15 years later, and it's like, oh, like half that stuff has already happened. Oh, now it's just kind of like it's like seriously, it's like a horror movie. Oh, where was I? Oh, here. Staffa, YouTube is flagging your comments. I don't know who Staffa is, but these days, I wonder why YouTube does flag your comments. Maybe if you use swear words or something. Whoever is using swear words, try not using swear words and see if YouTube flags your comments. I don't know. These days, if building any roof worth using, These days, if building any roof worth using framed used panels instead of other roofing includes structure. Oh, that was a terrible sentence, but I get what you're saying. Use solar panels for the roofing. Yeah. To the best of my knowledge, he is not. Who is not? Oh crap, what's the question? Oh, I don't know. My normal might not be your normal. Okay. Yu-Gi-Oh says, I make myself wear old style life jacket because easy to hurt self on wires, on sale, etc. Don't want to rely on $5 auto inflate made in China if you fall in water. Yeah, if I was gonna use one, I would definitely wear the one that's like got the foam in it. Okay, Wizard of the North says, I don't mean any disrespect. Oh man. Should I even read this, Mr. Wizard? All right, and I don't mean to unintentionally misrepresent what you say. I just feel that there's no reason not to wear a life vest. Shrug. Okay, that you wear one. I like. You wear one. That's great. I can think of many reasons to not wear one, but you don't have to worry about that because it's not your problem. It's like people not wearing helmets while skiing or snowboarding or skateboarding. I don't wear a helmet for that stuff. Yu-Gi-Oh says, I can't figure out Discord either. Okay, you know, I don't like the idea of wearing a helmet if I'm biking because it makes my head a bigger target to get snagged on things. Like if I'm gonna fall or something, I want to. This is just a pointless argument. Anyway, you do what you do, and I do what I do. Real key to civilization power is if people adopt solar panels on their own homes rather than central power stations. Well, I mean, that's one thing. The small reactors on the Mars rover produces 140 watts. How many peak watts you reckon you use on average in your house operations during one day-night cycle? Peak watts. It really depends on the day because some days I barely use any electricity, and other days I'll use like some power tools. So yeah, it totally depends. Joseph says, I want to come live and work with you. Well, then you should do something about that. Kids stealing your pencils looks like they need their own art. Oh, they have their own art supplies. Oh, they 100% have their own art supplies. The problem is when you give, well, I gave them their own art supplies when they were like, maybe like 1 and 3. Now they're 3 and 5. But like, anyway, I gave them their own art supplies, like their own full set of crayons, every color, brand new. The problem is they end up leaving them on the floor, mixing them up with other things. There's, yeah, we're working on that stuff. You know, kids need to learn gradually. They don't instantly know what to do with all this stuff. Orikama says, found this golden channel the other day. I reckon you will like Illinois Energy Prof. I don't really watch much YouTube. Sometimes people are surprised by that, but like I don't really have time for YouTubing. Other like I put videos up. That's like how much time I have to be online. Wizard of the North. The U.S. Congress becomes WWE. Someone's deleted messages. I don't want to know. Mr. Destrada just got here. Are you talking about Idiocracy? We were briefly talking about Idiocracy, yes. Yes, I made a reference to Ow My Balls. You know, the funny thing about Ow My Balls, so in this, you know, screwed up future where everyone's an idiot, Ow My Balls was one of the big TV shows. And if you go on YouTube, you can basically find channels of like basically Ow My Balls. Like people falling off their skateboard and hitting their balls, falling off their bike, hitting their balls, like getting hit in the balls by a golf ball. Like Ow My Balls is totally on YouTube now. All right. Jaimie, I didn't realize you had that much land. Would you be willing to sell some land? I could sail down to Panama in my sailboat. The circumstances under which I would sell land are not simple, but there is land you could buy that's not mine. RV nut. Oh, Riv nut. Oh, I've never gotten any Riv nuts. I haven't gotten any Riv nuts yet. Was it you who kept telling me how cool they are? Anyway, Riv nut says, I live off 2,000 watts solar power. I think more geothermal should be built. China just drilled to 10 kilometers in 270. They drilled down 10 kilometers? That's crazy. I would be careful with geothermal, though. We don't want to suck too much heat out of the core of the planet. Like, you know, a few people doing it's fine. But when you start getting on like an industrial scale or like millions of people, we can kind of screw things up, you know. This chat is... Oh, this chat is brought to you by Brondo. It has electrolytes. It's got what plants need. Okay, I added that last part. Rusty Shackelford says, I don't wear a life jacket unless I'm going through a river or large current or freezing cold water. Those are no-nos without a floaty. Yeah. Josh says, WTF. I don't know. What dries as it gets wet? A towel dries as it gets wet. No. Yeah, a towel dries as it gets wet. So does a sponge. A sponge dries as it gets wet. Yeah. It's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes. Yeah. Oh God. Okay, this is more safety equipment stuff. It depends on what type of biking I'm doing. If I'm biking to work, I won't wear a helmet. If I'm mountain biking where I might fall off and hit my head, I'm absolutely going to wear a helmet. Yeah. Do that, man. Totally do it. How do I do something about it? Okay, Joseph, who wants to move here and work with me, says, how do I do something about it? I'm genuinely considering it. I followed you for years and always respected what you do. All right, Joseph, when you say you want to come here and work with me, does that mean you basically want to just kind of like hop into my life and become one of my children? Because I don't know if that's what you're saying, but that's what a lot of people mean when they say that. Like they just kind of want to live in my house and eat my food and hang out and, you know, help out. And that doesn't make sense. You could visit. My best friend who lives right nearby, he watches he used to watch my videos from afar, and then he decided he wanted to come, and he came and stayed on one of my pieces of land for a while in a little house. I mean, he paid me something for it. Very small rent, but it wasn't free. But anyway, he stayed on a place for a while, and he's working on getting his own land and getting his own boat, and basically like setting up his own life. So if you want to do something like that, we should totally talk. You do something about it by emailing me. Mr. What does it say? Destrada says, "Hello, it's LOL. It's totally a horror movie." Yes, Idiocracy has become a horror movie. It came out as a comedy, and as the years went on and it became more and more true, it became more horrific. And now it's just difficult to watch. Oh, there's literally a game show in Japan, the same as Ow My Balls, rubber mallets to the balls. Oh. I hope those guys are doing some serious training before they take a rubber mallet to the balls. Video named Urshel Wall Building Machine on YouTube. The thing about All My Balls is that it's already a thing. In the 90s, there was a show called AFV, where a good portion of the clips they showed were All My Balls quality. Yeah, I vaguely remember that show. How much is an island near you or land on an island? I would be willing to pay you commission if you found a good patch of habitable land. You kind of got to come here. Like if you want to buy land, it really helps if you come and talk to people, because a lot of land that's around here that could be for sale is not necessarily listed for sale, but if you talk to people and they like you, they'll sell you some land. But like a lot of people around here who have land, they don't want to sell land if it's gonna just be turned into some like horrible resort or something, So a lot of land around here is not strictly for sale, but people would sell it if they like you. So, and that's also how you get the best land and the best deals. That's how I got all my land. Like I lived here for a year before I got my first piece of land. I'm not saying you have to be here for a year to meet people, but if you knew me, you'd have definitely a jump start on all that. No more safety equipment stuff. Yeah, let's move on from safety equipment. That kayak turns out super nice. Oh, I'm super happy with the kayak. And I just bought resin to build. I should have enough to build 2 more with some leftovers. I also started building a paddle. So I have up on the hill, and I made video of this. I just didn't put it up yet because it's not finished. But yeah, I have a paddle mostly finished. I'm super happy with that kayak. It's really good. Joseph Dines, you got to put your money where your mouth is. How's your lady search going? Oh, Fosco Zuzus, how's my lady search going? Well, nothing conclusive. I was saying the other day that I got on Discord, and that was to talk to a lady who I talked to for a little while, and then it just ended, because things come and go all the time. But that lady was very into sports. Like she was a little bit hesitant to talk about the sports things specifically, like in details. But I got the understanding that she was in university and she did a sport, and she had a lot of like basically most of her time was spent training. And I found that to be very inspirational, just talking to someone who's putting that much effort into something. And she was completely unavailable because she was married to her sport. But it got me thinking that that's the kind of person I need in my life, like someone who's either really into a sport or really into something where they're really motivated like that, because that really motivates me. Like just talking to her for a couple days, like made me just be like, "Ooh, I got to do more," and just And also doing, what was it, last week? I think it was last week, that I did a triathlon. Just being around those sporty people. Oh, they're so insanely positive, and everyone's like high-fiving and way to go, and you're awesome and do it. Yeah. So much positiveness, That's something I've not had in my life for a long time. And that's definitely something I'm looking for now. Like someone who's into sports, or maybe something comparable, but like definitely someone who's really into sports, like doing sports, not watching sports, like really into doing sports, and has that super positive, that sickeningly positive energy that makes people go, eh. Oh, I love that. I love that positive energy. So I definitely want to meet someone who has that kind of positive energy. Because I have that kind of positive energy. If I'm with someone like that, I'm just like, yeah, the whole time. Anyway, but yeah, I haven't met any ladies that are, gonna move in or anything. There's no one on the docket at the moment. There's no one in what's a batter's circle where they're getting ready? No one on deck. There's no ladies on deck at the moment. Any ideas on how you would make a floating town atoll like in Waterworld? Hey, get some floaty stuff and build some stuff on it. Yeah, I don't think it'd be that hard. I think it depends where you're putting it. If it's going to be like out in the open ocean, you'd probably want like a tall thing that's going to isolate the stuff above from the waves going up and down all the time, rather than like a flat thing floating on the surface that's going to be all like blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I don't think that's that big of a challenge to do. You just have to figure out what kind of water it's going to be in and design based on that and blah, blah, blah. One idea for a floating town would just be to have like a bunch of sailboats to hang out together, let's see. Exactly. I have skills. I'm a fisherman and own land in a cold place. I want warmer like you did, Jaimie, off the grid, and warmer location is better. Then do it, man. I mean, just do exactly what I did then. Sell your land in the cold place, sail down here or a similar place. If you come down here, like I'll introduce you to people and, help you find some land. Unless you're a psycho, in which case I won't help. But if you're not a psycho, then yeah, I mean, I'd totally help you find some land. The way I did it, I just sold everything I had, moved. I didn't move directly here because I didn't know this place existed yet. But I eventually ended up here and then just, hung out, tried to find some land. Eventually things started working out, coming together. Wizard of the North says, at or Karma. Years ago, I saw a video of a guy who made I know who you're talking about, his own floating island out of plastic bottles. Not super practical, but very cool. He put dirt on top of it and was growing plants. His name is Richard Soa, although he changed his name to Reichert Soa, last I heard. Yeah, he did it in Mexico. I actually talked to him a couple times a few years ago. I don't know, many years ago now. But that should be pretty easy to look up. Spiral Island. He made his islands in a spiral shape. So if you look up Spiral Island, you should find him pretty easily, I would think. No, that's not what I want to do. I'm not a sponge. Oh, this is Joseph who wants to come and live here and work with me. I just feel your community idea is awesome and would want to contribute and earn my way. Okay, but here's the thing. It's not a commune. So if you come, like the point of this community is that people come and do their own thing, and therefore they can do whatever they want. Like you maintain your freedom, your own autonomy, you get your own land, your own house, you do your own thing. And then any collaboration between people is totally voluntary. So it's not like a commune where you go and there's a house and you help and people all have like scheduled stuff they do. And if you do the stuff, you get the food and the thing. Not like that. It's totally not like that. There are plenty of communes like that. Yeah, this community is more just like, I want to have awesome neighbors who take care of their own crap, and I take care of my own crap. Everyone's responsible for their own crap. And when people are responsible for their own crap, that leaves them open to being able to collaborate on super cool stuff. So if that's what you're talking about, totally, man, send me a message. Let's talk. Getting messages from Walkie Talkie. I have to go check that in a minute. Let's see. No. Oh my God. Hold on. I gotta go get the radio. Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on. Let go of the button so I can answer you. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, I totally died on the way home, but my ghost can still work, so it's okay. Okay, over and out. Why are you so fuzzy? All right. I'm doing a live right now, so I can talk in a little bit. All right, walkie-talkie people. I don't pay property taxes. That's one of the nice things about Panama, and you can look into the details of that. Well, best of luck to you in your search. Thank you, Vasco Zuzus. You can search for me too if you want. All right. Okay. Yu-Gi-Oh says, what is reasonable price for a piece of land on water like you found for a homestead self-built like you did? All right. If you want to buy a piece of land with a house on it, it's going to be one price. If you want to buy like raw jungle, totally different price. Like you can get a nice piece of land for like $10,000, $20,000, but not with a house. Like that's like raw jungle. And you might get really lucky and get something for like 5,000, depending on the situation. But if you go through a realtor, you can add a zero to all those prices. Like $50,000 is the lowest piece of thing you can find. That's why I always say, like, if you want to buy land in a place, go to that place and talk to the people there. That's how you get the best land and the best deals. Because once the realtors get their fingers on stuff, they're just like, well, let's crank up the price to crank up my commission and la 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 la. You be sports guy. I will start extremely casual wooden bench bar on beach and be afternoon bartender. I will not be at your bar because I will be busy doing stuff. The thing about personal safety is that it's just that personal. So you should get to make your own choices as it only affects you personally. Yeah, that's the funny thing about safety and safety equipment. There's a lot of safety equipment there that I personally think makes things more dangerous. And one of the funniest examples of this is when I was at university. This is like an Ivy League university. This is a big fancy university. In the sculpture studio, there was a table saw. And we were told, do not ever touch this safety equipment that goes over the table saw. We are required to have it there for safety, but it is dangerous. Do not touch it. And I was just like, this is what's wrong with the world, amongst many other things. And like a lot of safety equipment it distracts you from what you're doing, so you can't focus as well. Like for me personally, I think the most important safety equipment I have is my own awareness. Just paying attention, keeping focused on what's going on, seeing what's happening, seeing where the danger is, and reacting and doing the right things. Like that's the best safety equipment, in my opinion. After that, there can be safety equipment that complements that. But a lot of safety equipment actually makes it harder to pay attention and see what you're doing, and it gets in the way. Oh, here's another stupid example. Oh, so once upon a time, I was in Canada doing this job where we were salvaging pipes, and like there was a sewage treatment plant, and they were switching out a whole bunch of pipes, and we were removing the pipes to be reused, sold, whatever. I don't know what happened to them, but I was part of this crew of guys who were like taking all this stuff out of there. The place smelled amazing, by the way. Anyway, anytime we were on a roof, we were required to wear this idiotic harness with all this crap. Even if we were nowhere near anything we could click it to, nothing we could connect it to, just anytime we were on a roof, we had to wear this cumbersome, stupid thing that made everything harder and more dangerous, because safety required it. It like totally made everything more dangerous. Now, there are definitely circumstances where you would want to have that equipment. Like if you're on the edge of something and you need to clip into something so that if you fall, it's going to catch you. But like, anyway, I'm not going to get any more into it. Let's see, Jaimie, let's see. All right, I don't want to get into that. I always wanted a bunch of old barges to be linked together and anchored in the ocean as floating harbor for fun sailing, gathering place. Anytime I see like a really big boat, I always think, that big boat could have like a food, like an orchard planted on the top deck, and like all this cool stuff, like workshops below. And I always plan out like how it could be a whole amazing self-sufficient home. Of course, anything in the ocean is tricky because, the ocean corrodes a lot of things, and it attaches barnacles to a lot of things. There's just a lot of things to deal with. Let's see. Dave from Precious Plastics set up Project Camp, and they are building quite the community, but they still close during winter because they don't have their community center built. I see. Oh, Matt's awesome stuff says, sickeningly positive energy. This is Jaimie like 80% of the time. Sometimes I'm just like, Jesus, calm the positivity down a notch or two. But when you're on your own, ain't got no room for chill. I get the disgusting positive energy thing. I just think it's not a valid way to think. Like, we've got one of the problems with our society today is that people think like being miserable is cool, and being happy and positive means you're a loser and you're a nerd. It's like something's wrong with you. And this is totally backwards, man. It's totally backwards. It's so ridiculous that people are looked down upon when they are positive. And I do try to have positive energy a lot of times. And it's not something that's just like magically easy to happen. Like I'm constantly fighting against all this negativity around me to try to turn it around into something positive. And then there are all these people who are like, oh, that's stupid. Let's bring them down. Someone's got to knock you. I can't tell you how many times I've been told that I need to be knocked down because of my positive energy. It's like, no, I don't need to be knocked down. Positive energy is what we need. We need more positive energy. We need to get rid of all this negative crap. Like, I'm so cool, I don't even need a cause, rebel without a cause, man. Let's just wreck everything and be stupid losers and watch TV and do nothing because it's cool. That's not cool, that's stupid. It's a waste of life. Have the positive energy. Don't let people wreck your positive energy, man. All right. Oh, let's see. Where were we? Project Camp is more of a commune. I don't know anything about Project Camp. People see Jaimie as a teacher and an answer to solve their problem of freedom and mental slavery, except they think Jaimie's going to do the work for them. Not they don't want to do the work. I get what you're saying there, man. I have encountered that, yes. I definitely run into that. Okay, a group of independent homestead hackers that can occasionally visit for fun and cooperation projects needing a hand. Or it doesn't even have to be occasional. I'll work with people tons. But the thing with this, the kind of community I want to be in, is just dealing with your own crap is just the prerequisite before you get to all the good stuff. So if you can deal with all your own crap, then we can get to the good stuff and collaborate and do all kinds of amazing stuff. But you got to take care of your own crap first. You know, it's just that basic thing that you learn as a kid where it's like, okay, you have to take care of your responsibilities before you can play. But what I've learned in a lot of these, you know, communal situations is people don't want to take on responsibilities. They want to get straight to the play part. And then they spend so much time trying to play that they waste all the time they could have used just taking care of the stuff they need to take care of. And it's like, you know, I have a pile of kids here. I've gone through this a bunch of times. Like teaching a child, hey, you know, instead of trying to avoid this for 4 hours, you could just spend 5 minutes taking care of it. And then almost all the rest of the time, then you could do all the fun stuff you want to do. You just got to take care of the stuff first, you know? Anyway. I know, not a cult. I'll email you, Frank. This is not a commune. Jaimie is like the anti-hippie, anti-lay around stone and do nothing all day but blow smoke up each other's butts. Yeah, I'm much more like the original hippies. Like before the cool hippies came along and started just smoking weed and laying around and, you know, making love, not war. There were hippies before that who basically do what I'm doing here. Like they're the ones who went back to the earth, worked, like farmed, self-sufficient farming and all that stuff. That was the original hippies. I don't know, maybe there were some hippies before that, but that's the ones. I've known some old people who were like that. They were the original hippies, you know, that I know of. Jaimie's the anti-hippie, not the anarchist. I don't know, I'm pretty anarchistic, I think. Over and out is from the movies. Over has one meaning, out has another. Together, they contradict each other. Well, I don't care. Oh, to me, when I'm talking on the radio, over means I'm done talking. Out means I'm totally done talking. Like I'm going away from the walkie-talkie. That's how we use over and out. So if I'm in a conversation with someone and I just want to let them know that I'm finished talking in my sentence, over, then I listen to them. Did I say something else? But yeah, if I'm out and I'm done, out, over and out. That's it. So I don't know. Maybe I got it from the movies. Either way, it works. Is there any concern of venomous animals where you live? Spiders, snakes? There is some concern, but no more than like Florida, California, Texas. I mean, yeah, we have not had any problems. I did get stung by a scorpion, but it's not that bad. It's kind of like a bad bee sting. So maybe if you're allergic to bee stings, you're also allergic to scorpion stings. But if you're allergic to bee stings, there's bees everywhere. So, but yeah, we haven't had any problems with poisonous snakes or any of that stuff. I do have a policy that if I see a poisonous snake, I make it go away quickly. You should build a resort on your island, dude. If I were to build a resort, well, I am building a campground. I don't want to build like a resort where horrible people are going to come and wreck everything. But I am building a campground, not on my island, but like on another island right nearby. You totally should have made that app to weed out the crazy woman. I bet a lot of people would download it for their uses, almost like character creation in the beginning of a game. Hey, dude, did you say you host volunteers to put in work? I have done that. I actually want to build a guest house up on the hill behind my house, which is something I was talking about. I've been talking about that for a while, but I was working on other stuff. I got my second floor up and did some other stuff, but I'm pretty close to the point where I actually want to build the guest house up there. And then I was maybe going to sign up on Workaway or Woof or something like that, where, you know, volunteers come and, you know, stay for a week or two or whatever, and, you know, help. When I was doing it before, though, I never really expected that much help from people. You know, there was some help, but it was mostly to, you know, meet people, hang out and stuff. And, you know, also get some work done. But yes, people have come in the past and stayed for a week or two, whatever, helping out with stuff. Looking after tourists seems like the last thing Jaimie would want to do. I shouldn't speak for him, though. Yeah, I don't want to do a big looking after tourist things. When I set up this campground, I'm going to try to make it as non-touristy as possible. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I remember Jaimie had a dream where he demolished a resort. I didn't demolish the resort. I actually didn't do anything with the resort. I just ended up with the resort right at the end of the dream. I didn't know what to do with it yet. Build a mega resort and go full capitalist. Well, when it comes to safety equipment, I think there's a distinction to make between passive and active. A helmet or life jacket or safety glasses are passive. You just put it on and forget about it. Yes, that is true. Although some of that stuff you can't just forget about. Sometimes that stuff gets in the way. It depends what it is. Like, I guess I have a problem with passive safety equipment that actually gets in the way of your active safety measures. You can float a nice water-cooled railgun between the boats as in solar or in Snow Crash. Ooh, what's Snow Crash? Is that a movie or something? Thanks for the inspiration for years. Definitely has opened my mind for solar, sailboat, van, and more. Awesome, man. Thanks. Let's see. Nice work. Happy is uncool. Yeah, it's terrible that happy is uncool. Happy should be the coolest, man. Single-minded is stupid. Truth is false. Modern society. Yeah, that's what modern society is. Yeah, everything's upside down in a modern society. I find what I eat directly affects my mood the next day. What are you eating these days? And are you still eating 3,000 calories a day like when building? 3,000 calories? That's nothing. Man, I inhale 3,000 calories worth of bugs every day. No, I don't know how many calories I'm eating, actually. I haven't been paying attention. But I did increase how much I've been eating a couple months ago, and I gained like 20 pounds. Like I was around 180 for a while. Right now I'm about 200 pounds. And I didn't gain a bunch of fat. Like it's mostly just muscle. Like I'm very solid now. But I just you know, I'm eating more so I can maintain a heavier body weight and then do more work, lift heavier stuff, blah, blah, blah. I've kind of been eating a lot, but I don't know how much. Maybe 4,000 calories a day. When I was training for track and field many years ago, I was eating like 10,000 calories a day. Like that was pretty normal. And it was just so sickening to eat constantly all the time. It was hard to keep up with. But I had to eat that much to maintain my body weight while doing that much training. And anytime I couldn't keep up, I couldn't eat enough, I would go and get pints of Ben & Jerry's ice cream or a dozen donuts. And I would just eat like 2 pints of ice cream, just like all at once, like some disgusting slob. The most extreme case of that I ever did was once I ate 2 dozen donuts. Like I went to this grocery store that makes obscenely enormous donuts. Like you can't even fit a dozen in their dozen box because I don't know, some baker there always makes these giant donuts. So I'd eat a dozen of those, kind of like every week or two, just to get enough calories to keep up. But one time I ate the whole dozen of them, and I was like, I'm still starving. I ate a whole other dozen. It must have been disgusting if anyone watched that, but it was pretty crazy. But yeah, right now I'd say I'm probably eating around 4,000 calories, and a lot of meat and cheese and just like fatty stuff, but also a bunch of like carbohydrates and stuff. I just eat everything. This is my sourdough. I made a sourdough this morning. I could have baked this today, but I'm going to bake it tomorrow morning. It'll be fine till then. Oh, and it has coconut in it. I eat basically a coconut every day. Let's see. This weekend, I finished up the rear suspension on my electric car built from unwanted garbage project. Oh, that's awesome. Soon to be rolling. Hopefully this summer. Oh, that sounds so cool. Dude, can you, maybe I do need to set up a Discord thing so people can share pictures of the stuff they're doing. I know somebody is going to share like inappropriate stuff, but we can just block those people, right? But yeah, I would love to see this car you're working on. That's super cool. My email's down here if you want to send any pictures. I would love to see it. Or Karma sends a drink on me. Hope others join me in holding a glass to this legend. Oh, thanks, man. Oh, I can do more than get a drink with 5 pounds. 5 pounds is English dollars. That's awesome. Mr. Landfill, thanks for always having great content. Well, thank you too, man. I will put that money to good use. Super thanks to you guys. That's super awesome, man. What if I click these love buttons? Does that mean I'm sending love to you guys, these hearts? Okay, why did you rivet and silicone the kayak halves versus fiberglassing them together? Sorry if I missed that answer in another moment. You know what? I didn't say anything about that. I just like rivets. I think that's basically the answer. Years ago, I have 2 kayaks right there, which are in the dark. I'm not going to try to show them. But I have 2 older kayaks that I made that are not anywhere near as good shapes, like not nearly as well designed as the new kayaks. But in those older kayaks, I did basically the same kind of thing, made a bottom and a top and connected them. On one of them, I fiberglassed the seam, and on the other one, I riveted it together. And I just like the rivet one. I don't know, I just like it. Like rivets on things, I just like if I'm drawing a picture of a cool machine, it's gotta have rivets, man. So I feel like if I'm making a cool machine in real life and I've got the option to put some rivets, oh man, put the rivets. Yeah, I guess the answer is I just like rivets. But I totally could have fiberglassed the top and the bottom of the kayaks together. But rivets, man, rivets are awesome. Let's see. I was also wondering about this. I assume it's because he doesn't enjoy working with fiberglass and he just wanted to get the first kayak done so he could use it. Yeah, I mean, dealing with riveting is much more fun than doing fiberglass too. But yeah, I totally could have fiberglassed the kayak top to the bottom, but I just silicone and rivets. I just like it. I like it a lot. And I think it looks super cool and it works and just, yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh says, recent Stanford study used AI to classify resting brainwaves of men and women, about 2,000 people. There was no crossover or correlation between men and women when thinking at all. So men and women think totally differently. Is that what's going on here? Dude, I mean, I don't know. Thanks very much, you guys, or Karma and Mr. Landfill. Turned up 28. Haven't you noticed yet? Jaimie loves rivets. Yes, that is the answer. That is the answer I gave. I love rivets. Rivets. How's that underwater camera doing for you? You know what? I need to get some underwater video. Yeah, I've just been busy doing other stuff. And there was one day a little while ago when I was going to take one of you guys, was it you who sent it? Anyway, someone sent me an underwater camera. and I was going to get some underwater video a few weeks ago, and I jumped in the water and it was just kind of murky. So I was like, it's not going to make good video. It wasn't horrible, but definitely not. Like sometimes the water is like super duper clear, like crystal clear. And that's obviously the video I want to show. Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, we think completely differently. I don't know. Okay, Matt's Awesome Stuff says, on muscle, I haven't watched in a while. And that was one of the first things I noticed, that you had an extra 20 pounds of muscle on your frame. No homo, you look in good shape. I'm envious. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, and a lot of it went to my legs, but yeah, I also did get some upper body strength. I started running more and stuff. Oh, what kind of food do you eat? For a few years, I've been eating simple foods for the most part. I won't eat foods with many ingredients. I don't eat meat and vegetables, fruit in one meal. Well, one of the things I eat a lot is pizza. So right here, I can't even see it that well. Let's try to get it in the light. Right here, I've got cheddar cheese, tomato sauce that I made out of tomato paste and some ground beef and oregano from my garden, and this spinachy kind of plant called katuk. And the dough for that is the same as this, which is coconut sourdough. Like there's a whole coconut shredded in this. And then it's sourdough. If you don't know what sourdough is, man, once I started doing sourdough, I was like, why would people eat any other bread? Like the sourdough is better for you, and it's so convenient. Now, if you're not at home that often, like if you have a screwed up schedule where you're always out and whatever, and you have to leave for a week at a time, your sourdough, I didn't feed it today. Wait, oh no, I totally fed it today because I made this dough this morning. Okay, I fed it. You gotta kind of take care of your sourdough. You can leave it for a few days, but you don't want to leave it too long and that often. Anyway, so I eat like a coconut every day. I eat sourdough bread, either in bread form or pizza. I eat lots of pizza-ish stuff. Cows and pigs and chickens, lots of meat. I've been eating more meat this year than I have previously, than I have in a while. And I got a fridge several months ago. Before that, I didn't have a fridge, and I was eating less meat because, I'd go to the store, get some frozen meat, keep it in a cooler, it'd be good for a few days. So I'd have meat for a few days. And then, I'd eat like beans, like bean burritos and chili and stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of wanted to, I wanted to increase my weight a little bit. Not specifically my weight. I mean, that's just a side effect, but I wanted to get stronger and have more energy. So I started eating more energy dense food. So one of the easiest ways to do that is just to eat more meat. So I got a fridge, and now I always have meat and cheese and just high calorie stuff, just stuff in my face. I don't eat any sugar. Well, I shouldn't say not any sugar. Like I eat dates and raisins and things that have sugar in them, but I don't have a bag of sugar. There is no refined sugar in my house. And I also avoid buying things that are processed. Like I don't have any chocolate bars or any of that stuff with sugar. I make my own tomato sauce, so I don't buy tomato sauce, partly because it has sugar in it, but also partly because I can buy like one big can of tomato paste, and it lasts like a month. I avoid sugar a lot. But if there's a cake, I'm gonna eat some cake. If there's a cookie, I'm gonna eat some. But I don't make that stuff. I don't have that stuff at home. Mr. Wizard of the North says, I live off of oats, eggs. I do eat a lot of oats too, actually. Oats, eggs, tomatoes, potatoes, and a few other assorted vegetables. That's pretty cool. I definitely have eggs. I got some eggs right here. They came out of it. These ones are from the store. But these other ones, these ones are from a local chicken's butt. My neighbor's chicken's butt. Oh, I'm sorry. My neighbor's chicken's cloaca. I need to get my own chickens at some point. I just don't want to get chickens until I have someone else living at my house permanently. I don't know. I mean, I could get away with it. I don't leave that often, but anyway. Let's see. Matt's awesome stuff says he will send me a few pics. That is great. I totally want to see this electric car. Wendy says things seem to be coming together for you. Well, some things, a lot of things are coming together. Not what someone just asked about in terms of girlfriends, but yeah, a bunch of other things are working well. Ha! I knew it's only because he likes rivets. Yeah, that's pretty much the reason. That's so yeah. Why did I connect my bottom to the top of the kayak with rivets? Yeah, the answer is pretty much because I like it. I could have fiberglassed it. I also could have used some sort of like super duper goopy glue to stick it together. Although I wouldn't do that. I'd either fiberglass it or rivet and silicone it. Or I could use the goopy glue with the rivets. I don't know. I just like rivets. Did you receive royalties from your spider toy robot? I did for a while. Well, they're not made anymore, so obviously I don't get them now. Actually, they are still being made by, some, what do you call it? There's some knockoffs being made, which I think is super cool because someone is still making them somewhere, which is great. Because the company I was working with, they're not making them anymore. So I'm glad someone is still making them. But anyway, I did get royalties from the spider tanks. And that kind of is what paid for me to move to the tropics and get my own island and all that stuff. How is the weather? Heard the Mexican Yucatan was broiling. The monkeys were falling out of the trees needing water. No way. It has been pretty hot lately, actually. I'm like a tiny bit sweaty here. I can feel like a little bit of sweat. And usually if I'm not doing anything, I'm not like sweaty at all. Although I get pretty revved up when I'm talking. But yeah, it's been pretty hot. Not insanely hot or anything, but it has been fairly hot. I've been swimming a lot. The other day, was it yesterday? Or I think it was yesterday. My daughter said, "Why do you have red dots all over you?" And I was just like, heat rash. It's heat rash. Because I was out digging for a couple hours. And, I set up a thing to block some of the sun, but even I was in mostly shade, but I'm still partly in the sun, and it's just hot, and I'm working hard and just hot. And yeah, I get heat rash when I get really hot. Looks okay right now. Let's see. You rock. Once you said that you use Kodak PlaySports cameras. Do you still use any? I do have one Kodak PlaySport camera, and that's kind of like my, ooh, I see a mosquito. That's my backup camera. And if I'm ever videoing on a boat, I'll take that camera because it's cheaper than my other camera, which I don't know what it is. It's an orange camera, my main one. I really probably should get a new camera because even my main camera is pretty old at this point. I should start looking for a new camera, but Brian Mahoney says sourdough is an essential nutrient. The human body withers without it. It's been a while since you've done a video on your food production. How much of your food are you producing yourself, and how much are you buying from town? Well, I don't know. Let's say I'm probably producing a quarter of my food, maybe, like reliably a quarter. Coconuts are awesome. I get lots of coconuts. And usually when I'm cooking something, I get some ingredients from my garden. And then every once in a while, I'll get like a huge thing of bananas or plantains. And then that'll be like half of my food for a while. And if I do more fishing, I can get like most of my food just on my own. But I'm just working on so many different things. So it really depends on what I'm working on. If I have more time to go fishing, I can catch more of my food. And right now I have 4 plantain trees. Plantains are like giant bananas that are kind of like potatoes. Like you cook them, you don't just eat them. I mean, you can just eat them, but they don't taste as good as bananas. Anyway, I currently have 4 plantain trees with plantains on them. So pretty soon I'm going to have tons of plantains. And I also have a tree with like a big banana thing on it. That's going to be ready in, I don't know, a month or 2 or something. So then I'll have more of my own food. But yeah, it really depends on what I'm doing and what's ready and stuff like that. But I'm also planting some more fruit trees and stuff. I'm always kind of working on that, kind of in the background. It's just, yeah, at some point I really want to devote more energy specifically just to food production, but I'm building a lot. Let's see. I find beef with beef fat and tuna are best for mood and energy. I avoid sugar if possible. Man, beef and beef fat. Oh, yeah. I eat so much fat. So many things today have corn syrup or sugar. Even beef jerky, you almost have to cook it from scratch these days to avoid it. Yeah, so many things. When I go to town, one of the last things I do is I'll run through a store looking for some kind of snack to eat on the way home. I don't even do it anymore because potato chips have just gotten insanely expensive. And I'm like, man, I can't spend $5 on like one potato. Forget it. Plus, it's not the greatest thing, but that was the snack I used to use. I used to get driving home because it was really salty, and I'd be out in the heat, and the salt was good. I'd drink a lot and eat the salt; it would make me feel better. But then after the potato chips, it's like everything is full of sugar. So now I don't even get snacks when I don't even look for snacks that I can eat on the way home. Let's see. Brian says, "Oh wait, I missed something." Okay. What food-bearing plants are you growing these days? Well, I just planted 2 water apple trees, which is kind of like a weird kind of spongy apple. Delicious to cook with. They're not the best to eat straight. They're okay, but they're really good to cook with. I can make amazing applesauce and pies and stuff like that. And I make pies with no sugar. I've been told you cannot make an apple pie without sugar. Oh, I protest. You definitely can make an apple pie with no sugar. And it's delicious. Anyway, I planted 2 new apple trees in a specific spot, and they're doing amazing. And I also have these 2 avocado trees that are doing really well. They're not fruiting yet. None of this stuff is fruiting yet. The stuff I have that it is currently fruiting, coconuts, and I usually get a coconut every day. Like I eat a coconut every day. Occasionally there's a dry spell, but usually I get a big fat coconut every day. Cocoa plums, which there's like always some cocoa plums, and they're like a bland plums. It feels like you're eating a marshmallow, but it tastes like you're eating a piece of paper, And then I have oregano, katuk, which is like a spinachy thing. I sometimes have bananas. They come out and then they come out a lot at once, and then I won't have any for a while, and then I have a lot, and then not any. I was getting a lot of papayas, but that tree fell over. So I'm working on growing some more papayas. I also have a big, what's it called, mango tree. It's not been doing well. I might have to cut it down and let some of the smaller mango trees come in, and in a few years I'll get more mangoes. What else am I getting? I don't know. I'm going to think of something in a few minutes. Let's see. What's out here? Oh, there's also this rose apple tree, which is different than the water apples. The rose apples are really crunchy, and they smell exactly like Fruit Loops. And they taste kind of like roses. And they're yellow, about the size of golf balls. Anyway, there's some stuff like that. I can't survive without ground beef and fish. That's Rusty Shackelford. I hear a mosquito. Where is it? I just opened my window and I totally let a mosquito in, didn't I? The original hippies were an inspiration. I met some of them in the hills between Oakland and Lafayette in California. They lived there and raised their kids kind of separately with their own school. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like that must have been a really cool time. Like when the original hippies were doing the stuff, because it would have been like me doing this and other people would have actually come as opposed to now when it's like, it's so hard to get people to come and actually do it. Like I have one person here who's come and is like really doing it. And then like a lot of other people have come and just being like, oh, I want to laze around and sit around and do nothing all day. Why can't we just do that? And it's like, that's not the thing. But yeah, the original hippies, they were like, they wanted to do stuff, you know? Could build an auto chicken feeder. Yeah, I mean, I could do all this stuff. They have electric feeders for chicken. You won't have to stay all the time to keep them. Okay, like getting chickens, it's not going to be like a thing where I can just put them somewhere and forget about them. And that's the problem. Like right now, I have a lot on my plate. Like everything is on my plate. Like I'm the only one here doing stuff. Like I have a pile of kids, but they're starting to help with things, but they're not at the point where they're responsible for stuff, you know? And yeah, I just feel like there's so much on my plate already. Just getting animals, I'm not ready for that yet. Even if I have auto feeders and stuff. You don't have chickens? I seem to recall you telling us that one of your chickens killed itself. You were chasing it and it ran into a wall. That wasn't me. That was someone else chasing the chicken and it ran into a wall. Jaimie, don't worry about a girlfriend. Focus on your kids. No, you don't understand. I don't have to. Okay, this whole comment, I hear this so often. You know, just be a dude on your own, man. Women will just drag you down. Don't get in a relationship, blah, blah, blah. That is taking the easy way out. We can't just do that. We can't just accept that from now on, men and women are just not going to get along and that's it. You know, just give up, quit, just like, that's the easy answer. The easy answer would be for me to just say, you know what, I'm giving up on that. That whole huge part of human existence that's a pain in the ass right now because people are insane and programmed to be ridiculous. No, that's difficult, so I'm just going to forget about it. You know, that doesn't work, though. That's not sustainable. It's not something you can do and end up with a positive future, a good... Like, what do I tell my kids then? Do I tell my kids, okay, kids, don't have your own kids. Don't get involved with anyone. Be like me. I'm just going to be by myself. I'm solo. Look how easy life is. Everything's great. Just don't worry about it. Just be by yourself. What kind of future am I telling them, you know? And what am I going to say if I want to tell them, you know, go meet someone, have a beautiful relationship? I am 0% of an example of that. Not good enough. 100% not good enough. Like, just because something is hard doesn't mean you should give up on it. And relationships today are a freaking mess. It's one of the huge problems that we have today. It's like men and women not cooperating and working together like they should be. Like men and women we evolved to work well together. If we don't fight that, we do work very well together. But right now we've got this screwed up artificial society where people are programmed to hate and fight with each other and just, And the easy way out is just to accept the programming and say, okay, forget it. Okay, you know, forget the whole thing. But that doesn't work. It does not work in the long run. It doesn't work at all. So I can't just accept that. I can't just say I'm just going to be by myself for the rest of my life because it's easy. My kids will reward me more than a woman in the long run. Okay, but you know, what if me getting into a good relationship with a woman is not just for me. Obviously, it's something for me. But I want my kids to see that example. Like, that's a really important thing. I didn't see that example growing up. All I saw was my parents' hatred of each other, and I never learned to be able to connect with another person. I grew up with so much anger and resentment and hatred. It really screwed up my ability to connect with people for a long time. It took me a long time to figure out how to just like connect with another human being. And man, the whole MGTOW movement, I get it. I totally get, women are being horrible, so forget them, go do your own thing. But that it does not solve the problem at all. And from the other end of things, there are a lot of horrible men, and for women to just say, forget it, I'm just going to be my own independent person, doesn't solve the thing at all, does not solve the problem. And one of the biggest problems about this is, what do you do when you get old? And like, yeah, my kids are going to be there for me to some degree, but they have their own freaking lives. They have to do their own thing, right? So what am I going to do when I get to the point where I'm just like old, my kids are doing their own thing. Now I'm hanging out in my house by myself, and it's like, okay, now what? I mean, I've already hung out by myself for huge amounts of time. I've done that. Like, I don't want to just grow old by myself. And I know I've not gotten the best start on that. I'm 49 years old and I'm single and I'm by myself. And a lot of you guys are in the same position as me, because apparently my generation, Generation X, is supposed to be the loneliest generation ever. We shouldn't just accept it. Like, just accepting it is not acceptable, So some of the problems are that it's embarrassing to even talk about. Just saying, like, I would like to have a girlfriend. So many people respond, oh, you're such a loser, you're an incel. Yeah, well, I'm also not an idiot. I'm not going to make up some bull crap about, oh, I'm fine by myself, I think I should just be by myself, and just like cry myself to sleep 20 years from now when I'm like just alone, and I know that I just wasted all this time when I could have met someone. Not saying that I'm going to meet someone, but like, if I don't at least try, one day I'm going to look back and say, I should have tried. Anyway, maybe I need to make a whole video about that whole thing. Let's see. When you're dying in your concrete dome you built, it won't be a woman, it'll be your son looking after you. Hopefully. Okay, I just went off on that. How's the fart tank doing? I get it. It hasn't done anything. It's just on the back burner. Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Rusty Shackleford says at Yu-Gi-Oh! So true. Beef, fat, and tuna. I love whipping cream and milk. That really makes me feel like I just smoked marijuana, but it's the animal fat lighting up the brain. Is that what's going on? Hope you're doing good tonight. Hey, Andrew Potter, man. Whoa. Hey, I got my maple syrup here. Hi from Turkey. Anna says hi from Turkey. Well, Anna, are you available? Are you single? Sorry, I don't want to start hitting on everyone on here. Anyway, hello to Turkey from here. Yeah, potato chips are crazy expensive unless you have the Walmart $1 bag of potato chips. Yeah, it's like, what was it? Like a couple of years ago, it's like potato chips just like suddenly doubled in price. And I was just like, well, forget it. I'm not doing that. The chickens can be okay with feeders and... Okay, I already went on about that. Okay, Wendy, water apples, not a real apple, whatever that means. But a real apple needs at least 500 hours below freezing. Yeah, so all the stone fruit don't grow in the tropics. So I can't grow like a Macintosh apple or crab apples or red. I can't grow those type of apples. Or plums. I think plums don't grow here. Cherries. There is a type of, I shouldn't even say it's a type of cherry. There's a thing called a cherry, like a tropical cherry that does grow here. But yeah, all the stone fruit don't grow here. You tell your kids to vet the women, meet their family, and you'll help them. Oh, I'll definitely help my kids meet their partners. I'm definitely going to be involved in that as much as my kids will let me. I think that's one of the things that needs to start happening again. Like, parents need to get involved in their kids' lives, particularly when they're meeting people of the opposite gender in, potential romantic relationships. Because, like, when you're a teenager, you have no idea what the hell you're doing. Even when you're like 20 years old, you don't know what you're doing. But like your dad, your mom, they can give you a lot of heads up of, like, you got to watch for this. This means that. Like, they know a lot of stuff that you don't know. So I'm definitely going to, help my kids with that. Let's see. Matt's awesome stuff says, I can't get a girlfriend, therefore men should abandon romance to make me feel better being lazy. Says losers wanting everyone else to be losers like them. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to say it that crudely, but that's basically it. Like, if you've given up on trying to meet someone, don't try to make other people give up too. And it's like that with anything. If you've given up on your dreams, if you've given up on happiness in any way, trying to bring other people down is not going to make you feel better about your decision. It never will make you feel better. It's just going to make you feel worse. Even if it gives you a little bit of a better feeling at the beginning, in the long run, it always makes you feel worse. But I do agree, it's not about giving up on relationships. It's about prioritizing your kids when they are young. Okay, I don't think you have to worry about me prioritizing my kids. My kids are not neglected at all. Don't worry about that. If anything, my kids are like, all right, Dad, stop dadding us so much. God, give me a break. Yes, well, anyway. Men need women and vice versa. Yin-yang balance. We were made for each other. I wouldn't even say we need each other, but I think it's a huge part of the human experience. And, like a lot of, like, yeah, I'm just going to leave it on that. Rusty Shackelford says, very mature answer. I appreciate your insight, Jaimie. I said something mature? Excellent. I agree. It's very bad programming right now. Oh, the programming is horrible, man. So, I've been talking to a lot of women and just, and I have to presume that women run into the same thing with men, but I try not to be like this. But like almost every woman I meet is like, I want. And then when you're like, okay, what do you have to offer? What are you demanding from me? The nerve of you. It's like, wait, you want all this stuff. Wait, what do you, what's, you can't just get all this stuff for free and offer nothing. Like, what are you offering? What are you bringing into the table, man? Oh, it's so, it's ridiculous. Let's see. Being paired in couples is as much for society as it is for the individuals engaged in the relationships. We are failing hard right now. We are failing hard, and you're totally right. Like me meeting a woman and having a relationship with her is not just for me. It's for me. It's for the people around me. It just, when people are in good relationships like that, it just has a generally positive effect. And yes, we are failing hard right now. It is really bad. And I think a lot of it comes back to what I was talking about at the beginning of this. For anyone who hasn't been here for 2 hours, I was talking about how we've gotten into a society where people are so comfortable and people get so much for so little that people have gotten used to it. So they want that with their relationships too. They want to get more than they give. And that's not how relationships work. You have to give more than you get. You have to give, and then the other person also gives. So you take care of someone, they take care of you, and you both end up being taken care of. But right now, it's really hard to find two people who both want to give because they're a rarity. So, but I got it. Actually, I talked to a guy a few weeks ago who was saying, yeah, I'm a giver, and my wife is a giver, and we got together, and it is amazing. And he's like, yeah, I've been in lots of relationships with takers, but when we got together, just so many things came together and worked out amazingly well. So yeah, I really want to meet another giver, because I'm very much a giver. Like, often in relationships, I have to like force myself to not be too nice, too giving. But I don't want to be like that. Like, that's my nature. Like, I want to help. Like, if there's problem, or if you ask me for help, the answer is yes. Before I even heard the question, Jaimie, can you? Yes. What is it? Let's do it. Where do I need to be? How can I help? What can I do? Like, that's the kind of person I like to be. So I really need to be with someone who is also like that. Let's see. That's true. I saw the same thing with my parents. Yeah, it sucks having parents that are just, Rusty, Jaimie rarely accepts advice from people. What makes you think he'd accept your advice about probably the thing he has best handled in his whole life? He's a great dad. He doesn't need your help. Well, I mean, you can offer advice, but I don't mind if you offer advice. Just don't mind if I don't take it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But and the funny thing about me accepting or rejecting advice is I don't even really see advice as something I accept or reject. It's more just like, those are ideas, and I have my own ideas. Like, I'm going to decide what I'm doing regardless of what anyone else says. And that's kind of how I think about it when I give someone advice. When I give someone advice, I always think that here's an idea. This is what I think works or whatever. But obviously, the person I'm talking to has to come up with their own thing. And maybe it will take some of what I said, and maybe that will be useful, or maybe it won't. But yeah, anytime you give advice, it may or may not be useful to the person. I don't think that means you can't give it, though. Advice does become a problem, though, when you get real pushy with it. Anyway, Yu-Gi-Oh says, live near some religious neighborhoods. I've realized if women don't have a belief in some god that they must follow and raise children for, they will not want to be a family mother type woman. Not necessarily true, but yeah, that is largely true in our current society. But in our current society, women are constantly being told, with the whole feminist movement, that they shouldn't be wives or mothers or have children. Enjoy your life by yourself. Like, that's what women are told over and over and over. So they're being programmed to think that. And one of the things that can combat that programming is another programming, which would be, religion in this case. All right. I've been going on for like over 2 hours, so I gotta kind of zoom through some of this. It's terrible because this is a great conversation that we got going here. But yeah, I'm gonna be on here forever otherwise. Parents, let's see. I'm actually if I just keep reading this stuff, I'm gonna be here for the rest of the night. But I think I'm just gonna cut it. And man, I gotta say, you guys did a great job of comments. Excellent comments today. You guys kept the discussion going and said some great stuff. Young women in their late 20s now make TikTok videos about how feminism from previous generations has ruined their life. Yeah, it's I'm hopeful that people are starting to come around and realize that garbage all didn't make sense, and like, having a family is actually kind of a nice thing, Anyway, okay, I'm gonna get out of here. Yes, the feminist BS has reached me here. Yes, it's everywhere. It's not, ideas can get everywhere. All right, everyone have a great night or morning or whatever you got, wherever you are. And microwave ovens made being a homemaker too easy. All right, on that note, I'm getting out of here. All right.